and born to parents suffering from the sheeple virus. Symptoms include the inability to think for oneself, the attention span of a goldfish, and a strong belief in government and the mainstream media. It is estimated that 1 out of every 2 children are being raised by parents infected with the sheeple virus. But there is a cure. For as little as 19 cents per day, you can become a TFR supporter and help children like me get their daily dose of truth. Together, we will make sure every child has protection from deception.
Budget deal, Mueller testimony. I'm Ann Cates. Congressional leaders in the White House have hammered out a budget and debt ceiling deal.
Speaker Pelosi and Senator Schumer have released a joint statement that reads, "Today, a bipartisan agreement has been reached that will enhance our national security and invest in middle-class priorities that advance the health, financial security, and well-being of the American people." The statement goes on to say that the administration is on board with the deal, adding it includes parity in spending increases between defense and non-defense priorities, while it also extends the debt limit until July 31st, 2021. That agreement averts another government shutdown before the next election cycle. Linda Kenyon, Washington.
Preparations are underway for former special counsel Robert Mueller's appearance before 2 House committees. Correspondent Manu Raju.
I'm told by a source familiar with the matter that the House Judiciary Committee Democrats plan to go behind closed doors tomorrow and have a mock hearing for about 2 hours to prepare for Wednesday's very high-stakes hearing. And also Republicans have held separate mock hearing sessions, very unusual on Capitol Hill.
Unrest continues in Puerto Rico.
Hundreds of thousands of people were in the streets calling for the governor to resign. Ricardo Rossello said on Fox News that he watched the protests.
I've heard the people talk. I've had a process of introspection, and I did. I've made a decision. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to seek re-election.
But right now, he doesn't intend to step aside because he has work to complete.
We're battling corruption with certain initiatives that we've already started and certain new ones that we want to put out there.
Despite the public outcry from so many people, he claims he still has support from leaders of some municipalities and Puerto Rican legislators. I'm Steve Kastenbaum.
Wall Street advanced today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closed up 18 points. The S&P 500 up 8. The Nasdaq up 58. I'm Ann Cates.
This is the Truth Frequency Radio Network. We are TFR. Truth Frequency Radio.
Astronauts to the moon.
10, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show, and we're in a snow globe, and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Jeranism Monday Night Raw, the current reigning, defending, and unarguably the number one show on True Frequency Radio on Monday nights between the hours of 6 and 8 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 to 11 Eastern. I'm your host, Jeran from Jeranism, and with me, as always, the small hat man himself, David Weiss. David, how are you?
I wouldn't say as always, because I have forgotten to come. I have missed some.
Once or twice.
Yeah, so not always.
That's true, but you're usually here in spirit.
True.
Which is all that I could possibly ask for. Good evening. Thank you, everybody, for joining us as you normally do. We are simulcasting live on the Jeranism RAW YouTube channel, so if you're over there, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. We really do appreciate it. If you were looking for the show last week, that show can be found easily on my YouTube channel, Jeranism, as we were welcomed by a special guest. Dave, wasn't it fun?
That was fun. Owen Benjamin.
Yeah, we had Owen Benjamin. So for anybody who hasn't had a chance to check that out yet, or if you were listening on TFR or iHeartRadio or whatever other method you chose to listen to the show and you didn't get to see it, actually, one thing we didn't even mention is that we were all on camera. So maybe there were some people out there listening to the radio only and just never realized that all three of us graced YouTube with our faces.
I did enjoy that. That was it was fun. Owen's, facial expressions, and when he starts spiraling, you got to see it. It's
right.
Better to see it.
I like him when
not so much.
Yeah, me, it's not fun. And I've hated being on camera. Always have. So it's just something I'd rather not do. But again, I've never seen anybody say to me, Jeran, we want to see more of your face. I've actually never heard that. So there must be a reason behind that. I guess
it must be.
There has to be. Just like I haven't heard anybody tell me like, hey, I want to see more of David Weiss's face. I haven't heard that either.
I've heard that.
Have you really?
Yeah, all the time.
I doubt it.
People are like, hey, is that Mel Gibson over there?
Oh,
no, it's just me.
Is that Tom Selleck? No, that's not him. No, it's just David Weiss. No, but it was fun. Yeah, I agree. I totally like to see Owen Benjamin's facial expressions or when he's thinking and does that kind of look up in the sky. Always fun. So it was a great time. So if you missed that show, check it out. Other things that happened this week, my video finally came out. My movie came out on the 20th on Saturday. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, please go check it out.
Paige and I watched it. I watched it for a second time just about an hour ago, and Paige watched it and wanted to pass along saying that it was amazing and you did a great job.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think I can do much better. I've heard some constructive criticism that I actually agree with, and so the next one will only get better. So that's the goal. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out, check it out. It is still available. It is not advertiser friendly, according to YouTube, which means it's dangerous content. It's borderline content, Dave. In case you didn't know that.
I just don't get that. What if we found advertisers that wanted to put ads on there? Could we contact YouTube and say, we have a list of advertisers that want to advertise on our show. Would you run ads for them?
Yeah, I don't know if they would allow that. I doubt it. It seems like they're just playing games with me. Yesterday's show, I don't know if you got a chance to catch all of that, Dave, but I did a Globebuster-ish show again with Eru. Did you have a chance?
I did catch it.
Yeah, so that was good. I enjoyed that. But again, that one also came back not advertiser friendly. So, all you can do is request a manual review, but then most times they review it and say, nope, decision stands. So, and I can see why. I mean, a lot of the things Eru was showing, a lot of the things we were talking about are certainly eye-opening and things that they don't want you to know. So that's just what happens. What are you going to do? You just got to keep putting out videos, and hopefully some of them slip through the cracks. Hopefully some of them can be seen by people. Dave and I both have a theory about some of my videos not getting seen. It is possible that they're only being shown to my subscribers. But, when you have 140,000 subscribers, you would think some of your videos would get that many views. But most mine get, 10,000 or something like that. So the movie seems to be okay.
No, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying the movie seems to be doing okay. I think it has 30,000 views last time I checked. So, hey, at least it's starting to climb the ranks. But I guarantee you they're not recommending that to anybody that's not already a subscriber.
Yeah, and I don't believe in view counts anymore either. I've had my subscriber count hasn't moved in months. I can, when I put a video on the app, I can see how many people click the link. Okay, and let's assume only half of them click the video, which I think it's closer to 95% or higher, because if you're going to click the link to bring you to the app, you're going there to click the video, and I'll see 2,000, 5,000 opens, and there's only 200 views on the video.
Yeah, that's really weird. How does that make any sense?
It makes no sense.
I've also gotten messages from many people, and this is something I don't know how they track or whatever, but I've gotten messages from many people who have told me that when they get a notification or whatever, that they'll go and they don't have, or not the people who have notifications. Sorry, I was going the wrong direction there. I'm talking about the people who have emailed me and said that they don't have a YouTube account. So, but they watch all my videos. But I don't think those count to your view counts. If somebody doesn't have an account, they just watch the video. You'd think it would, but I don't think it does.
No, it should count.
I don't think it does. No. Because how would they know? I mean, if you just kept reloading the video.
Well, It used to be if you kept refreshing the video, it would keep adding numbers to a video. You remember that?
Yeah.
A bunch of years ago. So if you keep hitting refresh, you could just push the view count right up. But they don't do that anymore. I would think that non-accounts, they're going to get all the ads and everything. Nobody will have an ad blocker or anything like that. I don't know. They're not counting them right anyway. I like when I search Jeranism, the number one hit is that crap Flat Earthers Say video.
Right.
How did that become number one under your name?
I don't know. For the longest time, it was a Red's Rhetoric video, so I guess it's probably an improvement, to be honest. Rather than people have to hear that shit. Yeah, I just saw somebody in the chat say, the rocket equation, it's a beautiful thing. That's what starts all my videos. It's that same damn ad. It's so funny. It is really, really funny. Yeah, Peter Francis, I just gave you a wrench because I saw you asking for one, and I've seen you before, and you're a good guy. And so that's why I gave you a wrench. So, yeah, and I see also Good Times for All in there. I will add him as a moderator as well. He can kick some
Speaking
butt.
of Good Times for All.
Yes.
His video that I mirrored this morning.
Oh, yeah, I thought it was interesting.
You did?
I did. Yeah, it was very interesting. I don't think it proves anything, but
I think it shows that there is a way to demonstrate a force that is measurable. Now, a force, an electric force.
Right.
We know that the Earth and the surface and below is negatively charged, and it's an even charge as far as we can tell. That has been proven. And he was able to demonstrate how he made a plate, with a negative force on the top, and that piece of paper went up.
But what is different than, say, when I take a comb and rub it through my hair and put it next to a stream of water?
Nothing.
Okay.
That's a force pulling the water. So,
okay.
Your thing is, and I know people are sick of this, so we have a guest coming on at the bottom of the hour. So if this stretches the 27 minutes, that'll be the end of the discussion. But I'm trying to keep it under 10 minutes. Does that sound good? Good.
You can talk about this for 10 minutes?
No. I can talk about it. You can argue with me for more than that, I'm sure.
I don't really have an argument. I mean, to be honest, I've told you that it's very possible that there is an electric force that causes down. I don't think it can be proven. I think Bob Nodell has said that himself numerous times. I've heard him continue to go around to different shows and say,
I accept the victory. Game over.
Game over. Well, I mean, when something can't be proven and then you're just saying, but we think it's there, that's fine. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. And I like how you guys at least say, oh, well, there's a predominant force in the downward direction and then relative density sorts it all out.
And I think that force is super, super weak. It just establishes the down. I have 2,800 views, 456 thumbs up, Team David, 21 thumbs down, Team Jeran.
Oh, is that how you're calculating it? Great, yes. I'll go find my relative density video and see what the thumbs up versus thumbs down. No, yeah, I mean, it's going to be vastly in my direction. It's going to be Team Alba all over the place.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's just so many questions I have. I mean, when you notice static electricity, I notice it more in the winter. I think that's a proven thing. With clothes in a dryer, taking a sweater off, when you get a shock when you touch someone else, when you walk on carpet, you get more of that in the winter than you do in the summer, right? Because the air is much drier in winter than summer. So,
is that the same charge, though? Is that the same thing?
I don't know. That's what that would be your guys' claim that it is.
Somebody brought up today that, when something is electrically charged, how come it doesn't weigh a different amount?
That's kind of what I'm saying, is shouldn't things weigh more than also in the winter?
Have you ever see a live wire on the street come break off a telephone pole and how it flies through the air, how it's arcing up and down through the air? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's a force, an electrical force that's moving that thing around. We've all seen those little triangle tinfoil things that they electrify and they go up, anti-gravitic, because you're adding that negative force to it or whatever. You're adding that charge to it, and then it raises off the ground. Heavier than air, goes up. Spider web looming, they change the charge of the web and they fly through the air.
Right.
And, all of these things are a preponderance of evidence towards there being a downward force.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think, the electric charge is inherent in everything. And so it's very hard to, you can call it quote unquote wiggle. It's very hard to test. It's very hard to prove. Your side says that it can be proven. Well, actually, Bob says it can't, or says that it's not been proven. So for me, the jury's still out. I don't think matter attracts matter. It's that simple. I think that
neither do we. No, nobody here thinks that. I just think that a metal plate has more density, and that static force told it which way is down, and that density will go down. Somebody in the comments said, "What about water? What about relative density knows which way to go. So a heavier thing, a weight will fall through a pile of feathers. The feathers will still go down, but the weight will go down to the bottom of the feathers."
Okay.
Somebody said to me, if this is true, how do you explain water coming out of like the top of a mountain? And I thought about it. My answer is because the dirt and rocks in the mountain are more dense than the water.
Correct.
So it's being pulled down and squeezing the water up.
Correct.
Right.
Isn't that a relative density argument?
No. We both agree relative density does all of the sorting.
Okay.
It's just relative density needs to know what direction. Now, I know you hate this, but if everything was gone, the Earth was gone,
okay,
and you were just there, nothing is there,
okay,
would you fall?
Absolutely. I'm much more dense than the medium I'm in.
Okay, but which way would you go if there was never an Earth?
You would have to go in some direction because there's disequilibrium. So you'd have to go in a direction. And whatever direction you went.
I guess that's something we can never prove. We never can prove because we can't replicate it.
I guess my argument's kind of silly. I mean, on one end, because I'm saying that it has to go somewhere, right? And you're saying, well, whatever determined which direction it has to go is this. And I'm saying, yes, well, it had to go in a direction. And you're saying, yes, well, this is what proves that direction. So it's kind of the chicken.
We can't prove it. We can't prove it either way. So I think I'm going to take it off. I'm not going to use that argument again.
No, thank you. All right.
All right. But I still win.
Yeah, you still win. I'll give it to you.
All right.
No, I mean, to me, it's just I really think it's not even an argument. I think people all are saying basically the same thing. And whether or not, we can't disagree that there's an electric charge everywhere. The entire world is electromagnetic, right? I mean, don't they just say magnetism?
You know what you said?
Go ahead.
You've brought up, from what I understand, and I don't know a lot about it, is that the negative electric charge on the surface and below the Earth is constant everywhere. Now, I don't know. I can't prove that. I don't know. But I've read that a whole bunch of places. And I'm like, okay, if that's the case, then my electric static charge theory stands. You brought up that maybe there's a place up in the sky where astronauts would float, above the Earth. Maybe there is a place up there where they're far enough away from that charge, or they're in a different static field, and maybe they would float.
Right, I've said that before. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's definitely good. I'm glad that FE Core and people like that are doing the heavy lifting here, because it's not my specialty. I've said it many times before. Even though my dad's an electrician, if there's anything that I should understand, it's electricity. But
no, I've been actually electrocuted several times, which could explain a few things. But
really?
when I grabbed the leg of this machine, it wasn't grounded, and I stuck to it. Now, I'm not sure, but is that my muscles contracting, or is it actually holding me there? I don't know the answer.
So I think it's creating a current.
It's creating a current, which is making my muscles squeeze. Because I had to be knocked off with a 2x4.
Yeah, because the current is running through you. Same thing happened to my mom.
Right.
My dad was installing a handicap bar, and remember, he's the electrician. He should know what he's doing. But he installed a handicap bar into my grandfather's bathroom so he could use the toilet, whatever. and accidentally, I guess, screwed it in and hit a live wire. So the next day, my mom's in that bathroom. She grabs the handicap bar and then goes to open the window. And as soon as she grabbed that metal piece of the window, she was stuck, essentially, in that location.
Wait,
I don't think it was...
And who did this?
My dad did it to my mom.
Your dad did it to you.
Shortly after that, they got divorced.
You don't see through this at all? That was an accident? Quotation marks.
I know. Well, he's the one who came in and got to boot her, too. So not only did she get electrocuted, but he got to kick her. And it just so happened he was walking down the hall.
Wow.
Who knows what happened if he wasn't.
That is wrong on so many levels. Did he try to kill her, or did he just look for an excuse to kick her?
Right. And he looked in there, saw her, and had to go in there and plant a boot to her side so she'd be knocked off. But I don't think it's making your muscles contract as much as, obviously, it's doing that. But, I mean, that's not why she's holding on to the piece of metal. I think it just created a current. So now she's that live. It's the same as being a wire. She's just part of that electric current. And until somebody kind of breaks that connection, you're in trouble. But maybe I'm wrong. Again, I don't know a lot about electricity. All I know is that if I ever installed solar lighting on my home or used like solar lights in the yard, that my dad would flip out. So that's all I know. And it'd be the opposite for you, right? When anybody's using electricity, you're probably pissed, being that you're a solar man.
I lost the track on that. What do you mean by that?
Well, my dad, being an electrician, he hates solar power.
Why?
I don't know.
We hire electricians all the time.
Oh, no, he's not a fan of it. Because obviously it'd take away his work. He's
completely wrong. We need electricians for solar power.
Okay, well, he does.
But I'm not hiring your dad.
He's retired.
He's an attempted murderer.
My mom might agree with you on that, to be honest. So anyway, I'm just happy FE Core and other people are doing the work on that, and I can kind of stay out of it. And I don't disagree with you guys as far as, could there be a force that caused the downward direction? Yeah, there could be. But could there be? Is it possible that things could just float around if there wasn't? And my answer to that is no.
That's where I disagree, because how can we have the rapture if there's not a way for people to float?
Well, obviously, Good Times for All prove that it's just an electric force that's going to be put on the top and everyone's going to be sucked upward now.
Maybe the firmament has a positive charge, and if they switch it to a negative charge, everybody will float.
But will we float with our feet first up?
No, we'll float in all different directions, but everybody will look at their feet and think it's down.
Oh boy, this is fun. Actually, it's not really.
Right.
No. So I don't know. And we do have Joy Camp, right? We have Benny Willis.
Benny Wills is coming on at the bottom of the hour. He's likes talking with like-minded people, and we're gonna see what's up with him, and
he's awesome.
He'll stay and take some phone calls too. He's a funny guy.
Yeah, he does great work, and I some of his videos are so well done. I'm interested in asking him how he goes about doing that, where he gets the guys to do. I wish I had a little team that I could make videos with. I don't have a team like that. I've got my wife and my dog, and they don't make very good videos. So I have used them both in videos before, but no, I like some of his work. It looks like it's professionally done, almost like he's got some sort of background in that. But if you don't know who we're talking about the channel Joy Camp. That's one word, JoyCamp. And I don't even know where he came up with that name, so we'll ask him that. But that's going to be here at the bottom of the hour. We'll also be taking phone calls, so if you want to get in line for that, 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. Get in line now if you want to talk to David or I. Dave, last night I was driving to the store real quick, and on the radio, it's just been nonstop the whole time. It's just, moon landing this, moon landing that, moon landing this.
It's relentless.
It is relentless, and it's such good indoctrination, too. I mean, it just, when you listen to it, you can just see why anybody would say, oh, yeah, we definitely went to the moon, because these guys get on last night, and they said, so tell me about the retroreflectors and how they prove all the conspiracy theorists wrong. The guy says, oh, yeah, well, if you didn't know, they took up these retroreflectors on Apollo 11, and they put them there, and we can send a laser beam there, and because we know the speed of light, we can calculate how long it takes to get there and how long it takes to get back. And because we did that, we were able to determine the distance of the moon. It's like, yeah, but you also traveled there. Genius. Didn't that tell you the distance since you went there before you put those retroreflectors there? And it's just funny because, they're talking to this guy's like, oh, wow, yeah, that does prove the conspiracy theorists wrong. The fact that, and then, they don't, of course, they're never going to mention that they bounced lasers off the moon in 1962. Right. Never going to mention that.
Our friend Aaron Rainin.
Right.
Aaron, he was on Coast to Coast the other day, of course, moon landing. And in the middle, he was doing so well. In the middle of the interview, he goes, well, they definitely faked the moon landings, but I think we've been there. And I'm like, oh, man.
What?
Yeah, I think we've been there. And but they just not. I don't know what he actually meant by that. But
is that like the Joe Rogan position? The Joe Rogan position is that the videos and the film that we see are fake, but they were there.
Yeah, because of aliens or whatever. But he said to me, I guess I could say this is he spent time at the laser reflector facility years ago when he did his thing, and they did it, and he heard the ping, so it's real. It's so many people are sending me things. You remember my buddy John Chow? I had the debate with, good buddy, love him. Can't see it. He thinks NASA's real. He did a post yesterday, just showing a couple photos of I forget, was it Neil or whatever, in the spaceship, and it's like as it happened, 50 years ago. And he's like, and some people still think we didn't go. And I'm like, how is that proof? It was literally, I could set up my bedroom to look like that in 10 minutes and take a picture of my cat and say it's in space.
Right. And people would believe you if you work for NASA. And if you're wearing a white coat. If you're not wearing one, though, I don't know. They're probably not going to believe you. In this article, it's from just 2 days ago at spaceflight.com. It says, 2019, why haven't humans gone back to the moon since the Apollo missions? And it says, the first thing, the conditions that incubated Apollo just aren't around anymore. So again, they go in and start talking about the money situation. And they fail to mention, of course, that Trump offered, as I mentioned in my show yesterday with Iru, Trump offered NASA unlimited funds to go to Mars, and they told them, sorry, we can't do that. So that's even much more. It wasn't like Kennedy offered them unlimited funds to go to the moon. And, that's just more stuff that people just don't realize. And I put in my movie, but they talk about, Kennedy wanted to do this. And in this article here says, in retrospect, Apollo 11 was much more exceptional than we even thought. NASA put 2 astronauts on the moon July 20th, just 8 years after President John F. Kennedy announced the audacious goal, and a mere 12 years after the dawn of the space age. But what they don't mention there is when Kennedy announced that we were going to the moon, that they had never even put a person in space. They never even put a person in orbit. So, it was a really audacious goal. And they say a mere 12 years after the dawn of the space age. Well, if you call that the space age when we've never put anybody up there. It says 5 more crewed missions hit the gray dirt after Apollo 11, and the last of them, Apollo 17, touched down December 1972. And it says humanity hasn't been back to Earth's nearest neighbor since, though many of our robotic probes have. NASA has mounted multiple crewed moon missions since Apollo, including the ambitious Constellation program in the mid-2000s, but none of them have gone the distance. So what was different about Apollo? It was incubated in a very particular environment, experts say, the Cold War space race with the Soviet Union. And again, I showed in my movie that Kennedy, I believe less than a month or maybe about a month before he died, went to the UN to announce that we should do it with the Russians. So it's not all about the space race. It doesn't even make sense. Their stories just, they nauseate me, to be honest. I'm watching this video here that is hilarious of Apollo 11 taking off, going sideways. And anyway.
The clips that you and Eero use showing, the jerky little motions of the orbiter and how anybody can watch that and think it's real. I've taken up Owen Benjamin's stance. If you think the moon landing is real, you're an idiot, and I can't talk to you about anything.
Yeah, it's pretty much the only direction you can go. It's just, okay, if you're going to believe that, then you're going to believe anything. You're just going to believe anything. Yeah. I like the video that Iru showed of them taking photos of the CRT monitor. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, I've never even seen that. I've heard that that's what they did, and that's, I think even NASA claims that, we only had one feed coming into the Goldstone or whatever it was called there in Australia, and we had video cameras filming off the CRT monitor. Oh, anyway.
Extendivite, a 7-herb combination made from garlic, cayenne, hawthorn, bilberry, ginkgo biloba, valerian, and milk thistle. Extendivite feeds our body with the right nutrients to keep us healthy. Just listen to what Arthur has to say.
I was just calling to tell you what a great product you have. I had used this about, 10 years ago after I had congestive heart failure. And it fixed me up and got me going for the last 10 years. Lately, I've been having heart trouble again, so I placed another order because this was the only thing that ever worked. And I just wanted to let you know that you have a great product.
To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hey folks, guess what the number one phrase that Life Change Tea receives by email? You ready? We love this tea. We love this tea. Time after time, week after week, we love this tea. Life Change Tea gives you more energy, a beautiful cleansing, and fulfills its slogan perfectly. The tea that makes you go. So if you want to be on your health game, log on to getthetea.com and order Life Change Super Strength Tea. Packages come in a 1-month supply, and when you brew this stuff, wait until you see the results. Aren't we all about the results? And with a lot of people's health struggling, we can use a little bit of help. Doctors will tell you disease starts in the gut. So log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Be our next email saying, I love this tea. I love this tea. Get the tea at getthetea.com. Helping America one tea bag at a time.
For 5,000 years, the world was ruled with wooden ships by one man. 242 years ago, a small group of free men crafted a new nation built on liberty and freedom. Global elites have been fighting to destroy this new nation called America ever since. Based on actual events, Charm of Favor tells a true story of how they corrupted the election system. They infiltrated federal agencies and murdered witnesses, judges, and even presidents to keep from being caught. Now, the largest and wealthiest crime syndicate the world has ever known has been drawn out of the shadows. They have killed hundreds of Americans and recently attempted to assassinate half our congressmen. Still, they escape arrest through an almost supernatural charm of favor. Read Charm of Favor and be prepared to open your eyes to what may lie just around the corner. Charm of Favor is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
No hate, no hype, no fear.
You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio.
We are TFR.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Shout out to my patrons, as I always have to do. You guys make this channel, this radio show, my other channel, and everything else I do all very possible. So thank you guys so much. Couldn't do it without you, and appreciate it greatly. Also have a few super chats that came in. First one from Dan Morris said, great job on the movie. Would love to see it made into a miniseries. Hopefully he means like more installments of the same thing. That is the plan. Dave, I'm thinking of the next one, maybe possibly named NASA Lunacy. I don't know, that's the working title. If you don't like it, too bad. And we have JPBGGB said, hot damn. Thank you very much for the huge super chat. That is awesome. Appreciate it so much. We have a guest joining us, hopefully on the phone right now. Benny, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, what's up? This is Benny Wills. He is the creator of the Joy Camp YouTube channel. And tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what your channel name is and where they can find you. I'm sure a lot of people have seen your videos, but possibly not. So tell them about you.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Benny. I have 2 YouTube channels. One is called Joy Camp that I started back in 2012 with my good friend Kevin. We've been making videos ever since, and I just recently launched a new YouTube channel that is just my name, Benny Wills. Well, I'll be putting a lot of my own personal work on coming up. So yeah, I have 2 channels. Yeah, I've been in the game for a long time now.
You also have a Patreon, right?
What's that?
Do you have a Patreon?
I do. Sorry, yeah. Hey, if anybody wants to support me on Patreon, please. Patreon.com/Benny Wills if you want to donate to me or become a patron of me, or Patreon.com/JoyCamp to become a patron of Joy Camp.
Awesome, yeah.
Benny, on your new channel, what type of videos are you putting up? Is it all conspiracy stuff? Is it the same type of humor?
I mean, I think it touches on conspiracy, but what I do now is something I like to call stand-up poetry, or truth-centered poetry. And I've been putting my videos up on there. But I'm also going to do like live streams and stuff, and just communicate more to people who like what I have to say, because I feel like I think I'm a good safe haven for people, a beacon that people can trust in and feel comfortable with, and I like being that for people. So I want to be more interactive than I ever was with Joy Camp, but it's primarily a hub for my poetry.
Now, do you have any experience in video making? Because I have to say, from one video creator to another, that your stuff is really well produced, really well made, a lot better than I can do. So I'm wondering if you have some sort of background in that, or if you just figured it out over the years, or how do you make it so well done?
Well, I wish I could take more credit for the production value. The editing that you see in the Joy Camp videos is primarily Kevin, and sometimes our friend Nick, and also sometimes my friend Tony, who's in a bunch of the videos. They're all exquisite editors. I am really good at writing and directing and acting and, getting everything together. I'm like the project manager and the primary writer. But I don't have quite as sharp editing skills as my friends do. But yeah, it just comes from a lot of experience. I mean, we were all, we all have degrees in various creative aspects, and we've just been doing this for a really long time, and our collective skill sets really complement each other when it comes to Joy Camp.
All right, and a really stupid question. All of your buddies are on the same page as you are on all of these things you discussed?
More or less. I mean, Kevin and I, for sure, 100%. I mean, even though we don't even live in the same state anymore, when we call each other and catch up, we are always on the same page about literally everything. The other guys, and Tony too for the most part, but the other guys you see in the Joy Camp videos, they're definitely not as deep as we are. They are to a point. I mean, otherwise they wouldn't be in the videos or even agreeing to do some of the stuff that we ask them to do. But they're definitely more conspiracy light, and Kevin and I are like deep down the rabbit hole.
All right.
Fun. So the other guys, do they all live close by? Is that how you're able to get together and do videos like that?
Well, we all used to live very close together. So Kevin and I used to be roommates when I was in Los Angeles, and the other guys also lived in LA. Tony was in San Francisco, but he would come down a lot. But now I live in Washington, so I don't see them very much, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to branch off finally and create my new channel, because Joy Camp is sort of I don't want to say it's becoming a thing of the past, but it's definitely becoming harder to coordinate those projects, so it's more infrequent, and I'm still very active.
Yeah. Do you have 2 or 3 favorites?
Joy Camp videos?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I love them all because they're so close to my heart. But I guess, especially as time's gone by, when I want to introduce people to Joy Camp, I'll usually show them a video called "I'm Good."
Okay.
And I have I have a bunch of videos from the conspiracy guy videos. That's like my primary character on the channel.
Right.
And some of those I think are really good. I mean, I watch those back and I'm like, damn, we did a good job. I think conspiracy guy Fukushima is really good, and conspiracy guy Beer is actually really, really funny. We have one called Trending that I think is one of our least appreciated videos, but possibly one of our funniest. I don't even think it has 10,000 views. It's called #trending, and it's my fiance's favorite Joy-Can video, so I have to mention it because I actually would like it to see, like to see it get more views because it's hilarious.
Right. I like the censored. That's a great one.
Oh yeah, thanks.
False flag's a great one. Yeah, so there's quite a few, and the conspiracy guy, is he telling you the truth, or the character is great.
When the conspiracy guy is how I feel when I'm out with normal sleeping people. Right. I sometimes actually do exactly what you do in those videos. Do you ever do that when you're just out with people, or do you bite your tongue?
No, I do. Well, the character came from me making fun of myself. I mean, that's basically how I was before I created Joy Camp. I was like the turd in the punch bowl who was always there to say, by the way, guys, not what you think. And in a way, it's me making fun of myself. And my approach has definitely, become lighter over the years. And, creating Joy Camp certainly helped with that because it gave me a medium to express. And I realized that humor and being lighthearted is a much better approach than just being, Debbie Downer all the time. So it's making fun of myself. And I feel like I do sometimes slip into it because sometimes I get in conversations and I have to say, by the way, there's another way to look at this. And I feel like so many people have reached out over the years saying just what you said, oh, that's me. So it does. I feel like I speak for the, I represent all the conspiracy guys out there.
Right. And you've been doing it for so long too. I mean, your first videos were 7 years ago, and you were talking about some of the things that I've just come to realize in the last, 4 years, with, I think your first video's name was Illuminate with Fluoride. And, that's just something that has come to me recently. And a lot of people that we're all at various stages of our truth experience. I just started my channel 4 years ago and really was on to the, fluoride things and stuff like that 3 years ago, and just really eliminated it from my life within the last, year or two. So it's always amazing to me when I see, people that were doing this for a long time before me. You have a video from 7 years ago called Chemtrails under Conspiracy Guy as well. And there's just things that always amaze me when people have been doing this for so much longer than I have. So I appreciate your work. Thank you.
I really appreciate you saying that. Yeah, thanks. It's been a long and interesting and mostly fulfilling road.
Yeah. Go ahead.
How long ago did you wake up to the flat Earth? Was it 4 years ago?
You know what? I got to give credit to Eric Dubay because because I feel like it was his stuff that really sort of reinvigorated the whole idea.
Racism.
At least from what I could perceive. And I think that was in 2015 that he launched his book and his documentary. And we had a correspondence with Eric before that. And he was one of the first people to really promote our channel back in 2012. And he sent me a copy of his book and of his movie before he made them public. So I was watching Flat Earth, his Flat Earth video in 2014, in December. So I feel like I've been there since the beginning.
All right.
Yeah. And Dave, was Eric Dubay instrumental in your start or no? Because
no, absolutely. What's funny is Eric Dubay and Mark Sargent together as a pair.
Right. Imagine that.
Me too.
Arch enemies now at this point. Yeah.
Everybody knows how I have a beef with Eric, but Eric has done some excellent work. He's responsible for many, many, many of us. He may even have started it. I don't know. But that's it. If somebody does great work, take the good work, leave the bad work. So that's where I am. I still use Eric's 200 Proofs video and some of his other videos that don't go off the rails. They're excellent videos.
Yeah, I think Eric has a little bit of a beef with me too because I've been reluctant to make Flat Earth my primary objective.
Right. Yeah, I think he has a beef with all of us. But no, I mean, I'd always have to give him credit where credit's due because I'm somebody who first heard about Flat Earth and said it was ridiculous. It's a joke. I don't know who would ever think that. We know planes go around the Earth. How could it possibly be flat? And it was when I was looking up moon landing conspiracies and things like that I stumbled across his website and, of course, stumbled across the azimuthal equidistant map. And that was the first time I just saw and, I was sitting here calling people idiots like my wife for basically even saying the idea that could the Earth be flat. I'm like, no, absolutely not. How could that possibly be true? And then I see that AE map and just staring at that, and it kind of hit me that, man, I mean, you can be so sure of yourself when you say something like the Earth can't possibly be flat because planes go around it. And then to see that map and it starts making sense where you're like, oh, man, planes can go around it. They can fly east and west and go around it. And immediately I had to go run and see, well, how many people have circumnavigated north-south? Because that'll certainly disprove this map. And as soon as I saw it's like 3 or 4 people and looked into those people and that they're friends of the Queen and ex-military, and it's only I'm thinking, how could billions of people circumnavigate east-west and only 3 north-south, even if you believe those 3? So real quickly, it was because of his site that I even started looking into it. And then just like everybody else, when you try and disprove it, you end up on the other side coming out a flat earther.
Yeah, well, he was instrumental to me. To me, even I hadn't thought about it until he popped up.
Right. Yeah. No, a lot of people haven't and still won't. It's just a lot of people that they, and I understand why. I've talked about it before that nothing changes in people's lives. I'm saying everything changes in people's lives when you're talking about changing schools and getting different teachers and different friends, and your parents maybe got split up and your grandparents have come and gone. But the only thing that stays true in people's lives is that ball Earth, and that might be the hardest thing for them to even consider. Might not be true. And again, we have people out there that won't even look at 9/11 or anything like that. They won't even dare think that there's ever been such a thing as a false flag. And those people are a vast majority of people. And so to expect them to think that there's a lie much more grand than all that combined is just impossible.
My favorite thing to do is help new people come to this. And I had an experience today or just from yesterday. You saw in the app I had the Stairway of Disbelief by Neil Kramer. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and that's an old video, but that I reposted, and I'm gonna let it go. Sorry. So it's I have a really hard time talking when I'm hearing myself.
I don't know why you would be. You weren't hearing yourself before, and you are now.
No, it just started, but that's all right. I'll deal with it. So I got a comment, and the person says, "Okay, some of this can easily believe. Okay, some of this I can easily believe, but I have some questions. If the Earth is flat, please explain physics and how we don't fall off the edge. If the sun are the same size and the stars, how come they don't hit each other?" It was like a couple of simple questions, and I answered them, and the guy came back and he's like, "Wow, that's very interesting." And now he's looking at other videos. So stuff like that really warms my heart. I'd rather talk to one person that has no idea the Earth is flat than 500 flat earthers.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to come on the show today, is because I lean in the direction, but I want to be able to hold my own in conversation, and I feel like I don't. So I was hoping that you guys would give me some more, sort of foolproof ammo to take into conversations, because I love the idea. And sometimes people get mad at me when I say that. I say I want to believe in flat Earth, but it's hard for me to commit to any belief systems in general. But I really love the flat Earth theory, and I want to believe. So I was hoping you guys could actually give me some more morsels to chew on that I can then, because even as soon as last night, I was getting in a conversation and someone brought up something and I didn't know how to refute it.
So
and you guys are the experts.
Let me help you. We're not the experts. We're just slightly proficient.
Oh, fair enough.
But one thing we absolutely know is that we don't live on a spinning ball. I think the Earth is flat, and a ton of evidence points to that. But we know it's not a spinning ball, so that's the deception. There's answers to almost every question you have. So let us know what questions you have. But let me start by putting on my small hat. Have you seen my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app?
I have not.
So if you have an iPhone or an Android. Okay. So
you could turn on your video and show it here, Dave, if you wanted.
Hey, I'm getting some real bad feedback. Do you guys hear that, or is it just me?
You're hearing like choppy.
I'm hearing when you speak, it's like an echo, and then when I speak, it's like an echo.
It's Jeran. Jeran just sucks at this.
No, I was on yesterday with Ira. There was no echo. We had no echo before we had another caller.
He just wants to make it challenging for us so we sound like blithering idiots and he talks so smoothly. So we just have to deal with it.
Right. Let me see if I can fix anything in the settings. Go ahead, though, while I try and fix them.
So just real quick, the app shows you the model and how we think it works, and you can see a lot of stuff. But one of the things is every day I post another video on a specific topic into the app, and it just shows up on your app, and then there's the archives in there. And then I just added a feature called the FAQs, where you hit it, the top 21 questions come up. Those are just really all of the questions. You click it, and it brings you to a playlist of all of the videos that answer that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did that fix anything? Is it any better now?
Let's see. Well, let me say something and see if I hear something. Well, yeah, because I like you guys. I mean, obviously, I reject NASA 100% fully and completely. And yeah, I mean, it's so obvious and everything about it is a deception. And I feel like if they can convince us that the Earth is a different shape than it actually is, then that would make sense as to why they can get away with convincing us of so many other things. So a lot of the logic checks out. I just have a hard time in conversation. Yesterday, for instance, I was at a party and a guy had been to the South Pole. He'd been there. He showed me pictures on his phone. He's like, here I am at the South Pole, thus disproving any sort of ice wall idea. So what would you say to that?
Go ahead, Jeran.
Well, I mean, I'm sure he went to the South Pole and then came right back, correct? Meaning he didn't cross. He didn't go from one side of Antarctica to the other.
I'm assuming that's correct, yeah.
Yeah, usually what they do is they'll walk to the South Pole and then walk back. And this is the problem I found when I first started looking into it. And I said, okay, I want to find somebody who is circumnavigated north-south. And so one of the things I found in I think it was actually December 2015, if I remember right, there was some guy that was going to go for the world record, flight record, flying, circumnavigating the Earth, going north-south. And so I said, okay, and they had this deal where you could track him on a site called Spider Tracks, and you'd be able to see his path, and they had his intended flight, which would be basically from like South Carolina. He'd go down to around, I believe it was Argentina, something like that. Then he was going to fly to Brazil, and then from Brazil to the South Pole, and then he was supposed to cross Antarctica and come out on the other side and go to New Zealand, and then up from New Zealand to Alaska, and then from Alaska to the North Pole, and then back to South Carolina. So that was his intended path, and I said, okay, I want to see this guy do this. Well, they were tracking it live, and he went from South Carolina to Argentina, down to Brazil, stopped in Brazil, and then flew to the South Pole, and then flew back to Brazil. It's like, well, what the hell's going on with that? And then he went from Brazil to New Zealand, New Zealand to Alaska, Alaska to the North Pole, and back to South Carolina. So immediately there, I said, okay, well, they're not going to give him the record because he didn't circumnavigate. Well, what do you know? Nope, they gave him the record. They called it a circumnavigation. So right away, when I saw that, I said, timeout. Now we're giving records that aren't even correct. That's not circumnavigating if you fly from Brazil to the South Pole, then back to Brazil, and then Brazil to New Zealand. And if you look at a flat Earth map, all that's very possible, what he did. And so it just made me think, if really we're talking about circumnavigation, then the second that guy went back to Brazil, the bet should have been off, right? There's no way he can win that award. There's no way he can have that record. Well, he has that record for the fastest, I think it's single person in a plane or whatever around the Earth, circumnavigating north-south. And so I just saw more and more of these kind of things happening. And then there was another one where recently some girl supposedly skied to the South Pole and came back. And right away I found her website, and there was a contact button. I said, I'm just going to try and email her and just ask her. And so I emailed her and I said, hey, I just have a question. If you skied from the edge of Antarctica to the South Pole, why didn't you just continue on to the other side? Like, I don't understand why you would turn around and come back. It seems like if you've already gone to the South Pole, why not just go across? So you can say, hey, I crossed to Antarctica. Why would you just go to the South Pole and come back? And she returned my message and said that it would have cost her $75,000 more to have them pick her up on the other side, which it just didn't make any sense to me. Like, how does that even possible? Even if you were to charter a plane for yourself, it's not going to cost $75,000 more. So it just seemed like everywhere I look, there's always some excuse. There's always some reason. There's always some other than just doing what you think that they should do, which is just cross the South Pole. And the fact that there's any planes, no planes cross the South, even though a lot of flights would be shorter if they did that. Now, again, they have an excuse for that. Their excuse is usually, there's nowhere to land if there was an emergency. And so, but yet planes fly across the Southern Pacific, say flying from whatever you want to say, New Zealand to South America. They fly all the way across there, across water. Well, there's nowhere to land out there either. Obviously, you can go to the Easter Island or something if you need to, but those planes are much further south when it comes to that. So it just seemed like there's always something. I'm somebody who, when you look at the flat Earth map, it looks like the South should be much larger than what we're told it is. And so I started looking at things like that. I said, well, how can we really prove that? If planes can go faster than we might think, that's not a good way to prove it. And I said, well, one way is cruise ships. Cruise ships can't go a lot faster than we think. That's impossible. A cruise ship can go about 20 miles per hour. So I said, well, let me look for cruises that go from New Zealand to South America. Well, there is none. It's just a cruise that doesn't happen. All the cruises go up along the coast, go up to Japan, around towards Alaska, down the west coast of the United States, and then down to South America that way. They don't cross. Even though you could go to Easter Island, you could do some of these other trips. I don't see those trips. So then I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be more evidence of this. Well, another thing is undersea cables, which is how we communicate almost exclusively. All the communications, internet is all done through these undersea cables. And I went and looked and said, okay, well, did they run sea cables from New Zealand to South America? And there is none. All the sea cables go up along, same thing, go across Hawaii or go across Japan to the west coast of the United States. And again, then I look at it and I say, well, that seems to make sense to me. If you tried to run cables across from New Zealand to South America, you would end up thousands of miles short. And so I think that they would know right away if somebody built, 6,000 miles worth of cable and then went to lay it in the Southern Pacific Ocean and got to a certain point and said, wait, we're out of cable, but we still have all this distance left, that would cause a lot of problems. So there's just lots of things that I've looked at that tell me that the South is probably bigger than what we're told. I don't know, Dave, you have other things?
Yeah, just when you go to the South Pole, besides, they make it very costly to go. It's $10,000, $15,000 or whatever it is. They bring you to the edge. So think of the flat Earth map. They show you some penguins. Then they hike outwards for a certain distance, and they bring you to a pole, and they tell you it's the South Pole. A way to verify it would not be with GPS, because GPS is controlled by the elite, would be a compass. But the problem is in Antarctica, compasses don't work. There's some of the declination spots down there are 170 degrees different. So when it's pointing south, it's really pointing north. So you can't prove where you are. So they tell you it's the South Pole. They have a pole there with a little ball on it. And you're like, I went to the South Pole.
Man, fascinating.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of little things like that seem to constantly come up. And the fact that they've got this treaty that doesn't allow us to go down there, or it's one of the only places where there's just no territorial rights, right? And nobody's down there mining for anything. Nobody's trying to get the resources. It just seems like every question that I have about Antarctica isn't answered, and then they've got very specific military bases down there, or scientific bases if you want them. There's like nobody down there, maybe 1,000 people a year, if you don't count the people that show up at the shore and get to see the penguins, like Dave said.
And by my opinion on the penguins is, there's penguins down there. They're right near the shore. That whole emperor penguins that hike for miles and miles to freeze their butts off inland and hover in a circle. Nonsense. It's just like the story of the guys that went to the North Pole and froze their asses off. It's to make people never want to go there.
Yeah, certainly interesting. And I've seen tons of videos of these guys going south and going north. And, the guys that went to the North Pole and have a video that was done about them. They have some big documentary about them reaching the North Pole. There's a cameraman there with them. So it's just always funny to me. I'm just like, well, if you took this cameraman, why didn't he get to celebrate being at the North Pole?
Why didn't his toes freeze off?
Right, exactly.
He had the good boots. He had the cameraman boots.
Right, exactly. So what other questions do you have, or what other...
Hang on, we're going to a break. Benny, hang with us through the break, and we'll be back. Mute because we're live during the break. Do we have 30 seconds, or what do we have, Jeran? Sorry.
I have no idea. According to my screen, it says 5 minutes and 6 seconds, but my screen's always wrong. So,
I have 56 past, so it's coming up.
So if anybody wants to call in, we will take calls, whether it's in the next half hour, or if you want to ask a question to Benny, you can do that. 213-233-3998. I'm going to Jeranism RAW.
Censorship and regulation is becoming an ever-growing problem in today's modern media. From the mainstream to YouTube and Google, The information you're looking for is buried by official narratives and propaganda. This is why TFR is 100% uncensored, unregulated, and listener-supported. The shows on TFR are not micromanaged by the station, and our hosts are free to speak their minds however they please. As such, the views and opinions expressed on our station are of those who make them. If you happen to hear anything offensive on TFR, please send us an email to toughtitty@tfrlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to tfrlive.com/signup and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
Budget deal, the Mueller hearings. I'm Ann Cates. The Trump administration and congressional leaders have reached a deal on the budget and the debt ceiling. Correspondent Phil Mattingly.
What they will do is increase spending for both defense and non-defense domestic on an equal basis. They will suspend the debt ceiling for 2 years, push it past the election. For Democrats, one of the things that they had a problem with, Republicans wanted to pay for a lot of those spending increases. Right now, they'll end up with about $75 billion in offsets, much less than what the White House wanted. For the White House, Democrats have offered essentially a verbal agreement that they won't try and restrict how the administration moves or reprograms wall funding in the future.
House Democrats are gearing up for back-to-back hearings with former special counsel Robert Mueller. Correspondent Sunlan Sarfati.
Many of them have been rereading their copy of the Mueller report, staging mock hearings, practicing questioning the former special prosecutor. Democrats say that they know many Americans, of course, have not read the entire Mueller report themselves, so they do want to breathe life into the report by hearing from him up here on Wednesday, and they will certainly focus in on the areas of the report they say that they believe the president obstructed justice.
Mueller has prepared an opening statement. Thousands of Puerto Ricans have marched in the streets of San Juan today and blocked a major highway, demanding that Governor Ricardo Rossello step down over leaked chats.
At one point, Rossello responded to a message that threatened to shoot San Juan Mayor Carmen Yulín Cruz by saying, quote, "You'd be doing me a grand favor." But Rossello isn't backing down. He's apologized and says he won't run for re-election next year, but has also said he plans to continue serving as governor. But as protests are close to entering a second week and calls for Rossello's impeachment grow, he may not get that opportunity. I'm Omar Jimenez reporting.
On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 18 points. The S&P 500 gained 8. The Nasdaq closed up 58. I'm Ann Cates.
You are now tuned into the Truth Frequency.
We are TFR. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
On the weekday, don't be surprised, don't be surprised. Walk like us. They even talk like us. Walk like us. But they are not like us. On the weekday, you can see the signs, you can see the signs. They wear the disguise. Look into the mind's eye. There's nowhere to hide. Don't stick on the lies. Whispers from afar.
Jeran.
Oops. I didn't.
Danny.
But no, it was my bad. I was on mute. Oh, boy.
That's my job. Hey, is your live stream over on Jeranism?
It is.
Okay.
I ended it there so we can be a little bit more unscripted now or uncensored when we talk. We can get into some false flag stuff. So, I mean, you're obviously, watching some of your videos, Benny. You're okay talking about a lot of the false flag stuff, yeah?
Yeah, I'm no topics off limits for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm just saying, as far as you said you have a hard time kind of carrying your own in a conversation about flat Earth. How are you in conversations about other subjects?
Pretty good. And I think I hold my own in flat Earth conversations as well. The flat Earth is an interesting one, though, because it's one of the more polarizing topics.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
And what's really fascinating to me is, because I go to a lot of conferences and events, and I'm very active in sort of a truth community, but that topic, people get so angry about it, and I all along I've thought that was an interesting reaction. People who I really respect. I mean,
nobody likes having their ball taken away.
Well, but it's interesting because they're on board with everything else. They understand the bigger picture. Quite a bit.
I was there. I had a podcast. We had a comedian and then two truth seekers called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. Did it for 3 years. In the third year, Flat Earth came up, and I rejected it. I got angry. I banned people. I've told the story a million times until somebody who was our guest next week, by the way, Sophia Smallstorm, convinced me to watch an Eric DeBay video and then a Mark Sargent video.
Oh, Sophia's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah. So she's coming on next week, and we're going to talk about some amazing stuff. But, Jeran, before we pivot over to anything else, what other things are you stuck on? I think, do we answer your
that was an excellent explanation. Here's a question, and again, pardon my naivete, but what about asteroids and comets in the sky? Because I kind of already instinctually, don't believe the stories about like the meteor crater and stuff like that. But when you see a comet in the sky, what is that?
That's a good question. I mean, to me, it's just that they've lied to us about everything. And I think, didn't you go down to Anarchapulco?
I've been to Anarchapulco 4 times.
Yeah. I mean, so, I know, I've been invited there before and big fan of all the people that go down there. But I think that, when people like that all have like minds and all see that they've lied to us about everything, and obviously they start to see the lies involved in evolution, and they start to see the lies involved. And once you realize that, okay, science can systematically force a certain belief down people's throats. And I just think that that's exactly what it is when it comes to space and everything that they've told us about it. And to think that they've lied to us about everything on Earth and things that people can go test. People can actually go test things if they want, and they've lied to us about even those things. So everything that they can possibly lie about, they've lied about, but yet there's a strong contingent of people that think, well, they wouldn't lie to us about where we live. They wouldn't lie to us about the shape of the Earth. They wouldn't lie to us about space. They wouldn't lie to us about these galaxies and these planets. And none of that stuff makes any sense at all. It all seems like a mathematical fantasy to me. And so to me, it just it becomes very easy to talk to people, at least the people that are open to that idea that, do you think you've been lied to? The people I can't talk to are anybody who thinks that we went to the moon, who thinks that 9/11 wasn't an inside job, that totally. Sandy Hook was exactly as presented. But when it comes to meteors, asteroids, things like that, I don't have an answer for you. But I
have an answer.
Okay, Dave's got one.
So, and again, this is just my opinion. As Crow 777 says, anything in the sky that we see, the only thing that we can say for sure is that they're lights. So we have these stars that are lights, I believe, within our atmosphere that are rotating around us. When you send a balloon up at nighttime that can see the stars from the ground, when it gets up to 80, 100,000 feet, all the stars are gone. So what does that tell you? That it blows my mind. So we have the wandering stars, which they call planets, which move on their own path. They're not in the fixed positions. And I think that some of these, like Halley's Comet, it wasn't that spectacular when it came through, but it was just another orbiting light. So these things, these comets that are in the sky, they're just other wandering lights. Mm-hmm. When a meteor, supposedly hits, like the one that hit in Russia, they always hit in strange places, with northern Alaska or Russia or whatever, in these desolate areas, or the one that blew up and broke some windows. that could easily just be a military weapon. They shot down, they filmed it, exploded, blew out some windows, and everybody thinks that the world's going to blow up. That is a very plausible explanation. Don't know, what else there is.
Sure.
That's So a video popped up. You watch a good flat Earth video, a moon landing hoax video. The next video that comes up is a complete propaganda video. And one that popped up for me the other day was talking about debunking the moon hoax. And they say one of the arguments that conspiracy theorists have is that all of the craters are perfect circles, but the meteors would be coming in at different angles and not leave perfect circles. Right? You've heard that. You thought of that, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the story that they say now is that it's not the impact that causes the crater. It causes an explosion, and that explosion, no matter what angle it hits, goes down and creates a circular crater, which is nonsense. I don't know if those circular things on the moon are craters. And I want people got to check it out. When the moon is full, the craters kind of disappear. Now, is that just a shadow thing? I don't know, but they seem less pronounced. But the craters on Earth are, and lots of them have been proven to be gas bubbles that come up. They come up from within the Earth. They're just a bubble. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the moon is pretty obviously emitting its own light. I think that was an easy sell for me.
Yep.
One of the more frustrating things I've noticed in the last couple of years is, like I was saying, I mean, I can talk to people who are open-minded about everything, and I'll just suggest casually that I'm open to the idea of the Earth being flat, and they get angry. And then on the flip side of that, when I say something like that, like I'm open to the idea, people who believe flat Earth will get mad at me for not being more on the side of flat Earth. Like, oh, come on, guys, like, give me a break. I'm working on it. I'm trying to be as open-minded and fair to myself as possible without like trying to please anybody.
An easy way to go about it is instead of saying flat Earth, just say there's a lot of problems with the globe and start addressing them first.
Absolutely. Well, what's funny about that? What's funny about that is they will agree with me. So then the people who are anti the flat Earth theory will be in agreement about everything, right? We'll say, well, we can agree that NASA's lying, that all the images are CGI, the moon landing was a hoax, et cetera, but they will not accept the possibility that the Earth is flat. It's just
as we see it, as we experience it, just like when you were on the hill, all the things that you said about it.
Yeah. When I'm in planes, because I fly a lot, I've already flown 40 times in 2019, and every time I'm in a plane and I have a window seat, I look out the window and I'm like, it's flat. That really looks flat. If it's not flat, then I don't know what it is about perception that makes it look flat. It's certainly.
There's a channel, Jay Tolan Media, who takes a lot of plane flights, and he brings an infrared camera with him, and he's seeing incredible and impossible distances through the haze.
Right, because the infrared cuts right through it, as opposed to normally you're looking at the far distance, but you're seeing through so much atmosphere that a lot of it just gets washed out as it goes further and further. I'm sure you've seen that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely check him out, Jay Tolan Media. Yeah, I'm never upset at when people aren't willing to say that the Earth is flat, because I understand how difficult that jump is. But I'm just happy when they are open to the idea or say, you know what, they've lied about everything, and it wouldn't surprise me if that's just another one. Those people I can totally respect, and I understand where people, Michael Tellinger or people like that just come out and say, you know what, it's a possibility, because even somebody like that's done so much research and so much studies into even his logo is a globe, and he's able to say, nope, you know what, they've lied about it so much that it wouldn't surprise me. And there's a lot of people like that, and those people I can respect a lot more than the people who just
write it off.
Just write it off and say, yeah. It's ridiculous. It's like, those are the people that you're like, well, you can't be helped if you just think that everything you've been told has to be true. It's just like what I said when I said I saw that AE map, and immediately went from saying to my wife, you're an idiot, it can't be flat, to at least being open to the idea. But I saw how easy it was for me to just flip that by seeing one little map and going like, oh shit, I always thought that the fact that planes go around the Earth proved that it was a ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, it's to me, it makes all the sense in the world. Like it does, it checks out. Like logically, it checks out. I want it to be true so bad. And I feel like if it is real, if that is the truth, it brings so much meaning back to our life, to our lives, and to life itself. I mean, that's where like my heart's in it. Like, I think it's a really romantic idea because it does make life more meaningful. Whereas science has taken the meaning out of life, and they say it's all random. Everything is random. Everything is chaos. But is this, if you bring it back to a geocentric idea, then everything seems much more special, and therefore I think it would empower people. People would be much more willing to live good lives because now all of a sudden their lives have value again and they have meaning.
I agree.
It's not arbitrary.
I agree with everything you're saying, but I never say it that way because people say you just want it to be true. You just want to be special. You want to be the center, and that's why you're doing this. I don't want it to be true, although I know it to be true, and I'm glad it's true. I just want the truth, and it's obvious that it's not a spinning ball. I mean, we can just go through all of the proofs. Right. Before we take a call, do you have one more question that you have trouble answering that we can answer?
No, not off the top of my head. I mean, I'm really enjoying the conversation, and yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat. Like, it's obvious that NASA is lying to us and has been forever, and I reject all of that. I mean, it's I'm in.
I'm in the same boat, and I think that's where it has to start for people. Is you have to look into NASA, you have to see the lies there, and then once you do, then you have to start asking yourselves, well, why would they be in existence? What is the purpose of lying, to us about going to the moon? And then you just start to unravel everything when you're like, well, nobody's ever taken a picture of the sphere Earth, and the fact that they had to go to the moon to show that people can even walk on a sphere. That's something I think grow up with, and they just don't even realize how strong that is, that you look up as a child and you see the moon and you remember you were taught that people have been there, and if people can go and live on that sphere, then it makes plenty of sense that we live on a sphere.
Totally. And here's something interesting. Like, I just talked to my fiance about this earlier today. The moon landing anniversary was a couple days ago, right? Or was it yesterday? Or it was over the weekend.
This week, yeah.
And I got a notification on my phone. They buzzed my phone. I had an alert on my phone for a news article that said something like, 50 years ago, man walked on the moon, and why conspiracy theories about it still persist. That's the name of the article that they're choosing to send me. And I thought, they just expose themselves when they give me articles like that, because if it were 100% authentically true, they would laugh at the conspiracy. They wouldn't have to comment on it at all, because 50 years is a big deal. 50 years since we landed on the moon. Why does the article have to be about the conspiracies that surround it? They show their hand when they say
I've
something
heard
like that.
A bunch of people, my buddy JQ said that one of the reasons they got into Flat Earth was because of all of the debunking videos, because of all of the propaganda videos that they're putting out there, because YouTube is hiding these videos. They're like, okay, something's up. So
true.
So it is backfiring in their face, and
I think so.
And I like that.
Well, it's like that, like the radio show I talked about earlier in the show when I said I listened to a radio show last night, and the very first thing they started out with is, let's talk to an astrophysicist and ask him what he's got to say. What are the proof that we give these people who say we didn't go to the moon? And you're right. Right away, I'm just like, man, these guys just expose themselves right there. It's not just let's talk about the moon landing and what a great thing it was. The first thing they wanted to do was get an astrophysicist on the phone to talk about ways that they can debunk the hoax claimers. And of course he did was to say that there's retroreflectors there, and we can figure out how far away the moon is by bouncing these lasers. And when you're somebody like me who's gone out and done laser tests and seen how big a laser beam gets when you shoot it 4 miles, to think about how big a laser beam would get as it went 238,000 miles to the moon, then it's supposed to be reflected off some little mirror that's 3 feet by 3 feet. And then the laser that comes back is supposed to re-enter the telescope or the telescope, which is just ridiculous. The size of that laser would be enormous. Bigger
Benny, they say that they send out something like 20 trillion photons. What's the number, Jeran? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's like 4 trillion.
Yeah, some ridiculous number, and then they get back one, not 1 million or billion, one photon.
Right. And 4 trillion photons,
because the computer goes bing, that proves it. I mean, could you program your computer to go bing after 3 or 4 seconds or whatever it's supposed to be. Hey, I'm going to shoot this laser, and my boom, there's a bing. I just did it.
And then you just program it to only happen 3 out of 4 times. So 1 out of 4 times it doesn't come back. You're like, let me see. We have to readjust this. Let's send it again. Okay, there it was. Now we got the bing back.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They destroyed the evidence. I mean, everything about the moon landing stinks to high heaven. It's obviously a hoax, obviously.
Right.
The best is that they taped over them because of budgetary restrictions.
Come on.
My question to you in the 1960s, how much was VHS tape? And how much of one day's budget would a million reels of tape cost? Wouldn't even take up one day.
It's just so ridiculous. The greatest accomplishment in the history of human beings, and we just taped over it because we needed.
Well, they found some new tapes that just came out, some high def tapes, right?
I still haven't seen them yet.
Yeah,
but,
they're ridiculous. They're
and the only footage that we know that we've seen are all just recordings from television. They're not even the real footage.
Correct.
No, they recorded it off a CRT monitor. They just set up a video camera filming a monitor, and like Iru and I were talking about on my show yesterday. That if you take a photograph of a photo, there's no way somebody can actually prove that that's fake by looking at photo forensics or anything. You just can't, because you're taking a picture of an actual picture. Well, that's why they did it that way when they filmed the moon landing off what was coming off a CRT monitor.
All the metadata's gone.
Right. They control just that one feed coming into the monitor, and then somebody's filming off that monitor and calling that live TV. That's not live TV.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It stinks.
Yeah,
petrified wood, all that. I mean, it's all
one man.
It's so blatant.
And I don't know why people don't see that. That if your friend told you he's got some gold, and I'll give you a piece of it, and you're like, all right, well, you got a lot there. You can give me one piece, and he gives you a piece, and you go have it tested, and it comes out that it's not gold. Are you going to believe that the rest that he has is gold? No, probably not. And that's the same thing that they gave out. These moon rocks, all of them encompassed in like this plexiglass where you're not supposed to go in there. And it just so happens that the Dutch opened it up and tested it, and it came back as petrified wood. Crazy.
Jay Widener was on Caravan to Midnight talking with John B. Wells about the moon landings. And he didn't even know. He thinks that they faked the moon landings, but that we've been there. And he didn't even know that the moon rock was fake. And people look at him, someone like him, as an authority. There's people out there that they allow to make these, to go on, do all this publicity, like Bart Sabrell. He puts out some good stuff, but he still makes you think that they're in space.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, I wonder, because there's a lot of times deep space or the secret space program comes up, and I'm always like, is there even a deep space? Is there... Like, are they? Because sometimes people will say that they're like, "Well, I don't think we went to the moon, but we did go, but we just didn't televise it, or it's not, they did these secret missions to the moon." I'm like, I don't think so.
When someone brings up the secret space program, I say, or is it possibly the secret anti-gravitics propulsion program that they're using across the plane, maybe to go beyond Antarctica to other lands that where other people live, where the extraterrestrials, extra territory, extra land.
Man, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. So, and guess what? That is just a short plane flight away. You can go there for lunch and come back in the same day. It's only a few thousand. It might only be a few thousand miles. Maybe there's a firmament. Maybe you can't get through. Maybe there is a way to get through. Maybe it's just 1,000 miles outwards from the shoreline of Antarctica. I don't know the answer, but these are very simple possibilities rather than coming from 1 billion miles away.
All right, and then when you have longitude, latitude, and everything is controlled as far as these computer systems that are in these planes, nobody can just take their plane and fly across the South Pole to go see what's going on the other side. It's just physically impossible. You wouldn't know where to land. You wouldn't know where you're going because everything's controlled with the GPS. You wouldn't know where you can refuel. And so effectively, they've just stopped anybody from even venturing out. And the fact that you can't take any fuel below the 60-degree marker south, you can't store fuel on your boat, which just makes no sense. Why not? Why can't I go down with some fuel on my boat? And just
you can spill it and kill the emperor penguins.
Right, those poor penguins.
Yeah.
No, and the easiest one for me is still water lies level. I mean, it's just the most simple concept that there could possibly be. And until I see anything different than that, and then you just, every time I see that ball Earth now, supposedly floating in the blackness of space, I can't do anything but laugh. How about you guys?
Yeah, well, a buddy of mine, actually Tony, who's in a bunch of the Joy-Camp videos, he watches a lot of TV. I mean, I'm not a big TV watcher, but he watches a lot of TV, and he used to be all about science. He loved Neil deGrasse Tyson and Cosmos, but now he's done a total 180, and he's actually he's more, trying to get me to watch, the opposite of that now. And so he said he watches a lot of Netflix, and he says every time they show a kid's bedroom in a TV show, there's a globe in the bedroom every single time. And not only that, there's an owl as well. There's an owl and a globe. He said there's an owl in every TV show he's ever seen. There's an owl, and then there's a globe if there's a kid's bedroom. And of course, in the classroom, there's always the globe. But every kid's bedroom has a globe in it.
And a poster with a Saturn or an
that's a good point.
Yeah, I see it all the time. The same thing. Yeah, in any of these shows, or they're showing a kid's room, and he's got space sheets, and he's got it's planets on the wall, and you always have the globe, and sometimes in a lot of these films they always have like 5 or 6 globes in these rooms. It's like in the classrooms or something, there's just 5 or 6 globes everywhere.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
And they love putting the owl in there too.
Yeah, the owl. I've seen that in a few places too. So yeah, definitely, he's definitely got his eyes open. And once you're alert to some of this stuff, you can't stop seeing it anywhere. It's just, before I never used to notice it. In some way, in every movie, they've got to have something to do with the globe, either at the beginning in the Universal logo, the zoom in or the zoom out away from the city, from the globe, just kind of reconfirming to everybody that this movie takes place on this spinning ball.
True.
Yeah. So, Dave, you want to take some phone calls, or you have more questions?
Yeah, let's take a call before the break. Just real quick, Benny, if you do get stuck in any questions, I sent you a link to the Android app with a free download code.
Fantastic.
So if you're ever stuck, hit the frequently asked questions. And there will be your answers.
Appreciate it.
All right, let's go to the 843. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw with Benny and Dave, myself. Who's this?
Mark.
What's up, Mark?
Myrtle Beach. How you doing?
What's going on? Good.
What's going on, guys? Hey, I really liked the movie there. That was pretty awesome with a completely new angle.
Thank you.
Of explaining that deception. And, I mean, I already could see through all the BS, but, I mean, it was just, if you show someone that, unless they're completely, cognitive dissonant,
right?
And you can't deny that it's obviously true, all the money and the way they switch it back and forth. Very cool.
Thank you.
And doesn't a compass only point north? It doesn't point south, right? It points north.
Correct.
There might not even be a South Pole.
Yeah, no, all compasses.
You know what I'm
saying? They do sell some in the South where they simply paint the other tip of the needle red. So you can buy one in the South.
Yeah, okay.
It's still the other end is what's pointing to the north, and then the tip points south, so that they think
Which
that's
is any direction away from north.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah,
it's
but
south.
no
and
south.
then I watched one of your videos. It was showing east to west lines on Google Earth, the map. That was really cool too. When you showed me that.
Oh man!
You know, like it's not they're not parallel. They intersect at where the sun is on the horizon.
Right. Exactly.
You know, it's real neat. I mean, I've been convinced the Earth is flat for a couple years now, at least, maybe 3. And you were probably the main reason, Jeran.
All right. Well,
your videos.
Sorry, one or the other.
I preferred them over everybody else.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. And I just want to tell you guys thank you. And, yeah, I ain't got much else to say. Just I'm on everything Flat Earth. Like, I'm on the Friend Finder. I belong to a couple Facebook groups. The Facebook groups really crack me up, because if you post anything in those, there's, like, people that are just sitting there paid to be there or something, and they just start sending you this ridiculous globe stuff, which if you researched it, you know it's completely fake.
Not on the Flat Earth Podcast Facebook page. They're banned instantly.
Dave won't allow it.
So it's Facebook page, Flat Earth Podcast. All right, I'll check that one out.
The Flat Earth Podcast, yep.
All right, well, thank you. Oops. I hung up on you. But anyway, we'll be taking your calls. 1-3-2-3-3-998. Don't go anywhere. You got a half hour.
From the dawn of man, we have turned to nature to help attain balance within ourselves. But somewhere, we lost our way. Western culture is once again remembering the healing benefits of CBD, the non-psychoactive component of the hemp plant. That's why more and more people who use CBD report relief from inflammation and chronic pain, balanced blood sugar and cardiovascular system, relief from muscle tensions, tremors, migraines, headaches, anxiety, depression, and the list goes on. The big question is, where do you get it? IALife is a 99% pure CBD oil made with all organic ingredients, and it's available to TFR listeners worldwide. If you use coupon code TFR at checkout, you'll get $5 towards your order. Head on over to IALife.com now. That's AYA life.com.
Poor water quality is a major health issue, and it's only getting worse. Municipalities can't keep up, standards have dropped, and pollutants are increasing. Where does it all end? It ends by keeping the pollutants outside of your home with HydroCare's advanced systems available at Wave Home Solutions. No less than the best purification materials and processes have been developed by HydroCare to provide you with healthy, clean water for drinking, cooking, and showering. HydroCare far surpasses the competition in removing chlorine, odors, iron, lead, chemicals, limescale, and much more. Don't settle for less when it comes to your water. We'll take care of the toughest water problems for you, whether it's from a city or well source. Satisfaction guaranteed. For more information, call 888-997-WAVE. That's 888-997-WAVE. Or go to bestwater123.com. That's bestwater123.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death. This is Uncle Walt from the Ironworks. Josh, Corey, and I have chosen to look at life with no fear. No fear of the unknown. No fear of questions about the supposedly well-known. No fear of ridicule for thinking outside the familiar fool's lines. No fear of the boot on the neck of those refusing the party line. No fear of taking on those so convinced of their beliefs they would sooner drink the Kool-Aid than believe they've been fools made. In this world filled with me too, cattle think, can truth's protective layers be peeled back to show the tender, juicy pink? Are we all just grist for the mill? Souls sold against our will, or is that just how it feels? When you're filled to the rim with trivialities so fear-filled and grim, break clear of the fear right here. Tuesdays and Fridays at 2 a.m. on TFR. Josh and I and you will hammer out the impurities of technology-driven groupthink, fold in a dash of logic, and quench it all with a bit of absurdity. The Ironworks. Break clear of the fear.
We are TFR.
My faith in destiny is all I need to prevail.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, welcome back. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Thank you guys so much for joining us. You've got David Weiss, myself, and we are being joined by Benny Wills from the Joy Camp YouTube channel. You can also find him at Benny Wills, 2 words, Benny, which you know how to spell, and Wills, W-I-L-L-S. He also has a YouTube channel for his, what'd you say, stand-up poetry, right?
That's it, yeah. And I don't want people to be turned off by the word poetry. I even have a poem called Poetry is Dead, which makes fun of all the pretentious sort of stream of consciousness, mind vomit poetry that's out there. Right. It's much more entertaining than that.
Yeah, and then I was looking earlier today, I saw some of your featured channels, which I also really enjoy, is the Crow House. So you watch a lot of Max Egan, huh?
Yeah, I do. I love Max. Max is a good friend of mine. He's someone that I've respected for a long time, and he became a really good friend in the last couple of years. And yeah, I think he's doing good work.
And then I also saw Owen Benjamin, who joined us last week on this very show. So, yeah, that's great. You're listening to the right people.
Owen is the man. I've only been turned on to Owen's work in the last couple months, but I'm actually really trying to get in touch with Owen because he also lives in Washington, and he's also an LA Hollywood reject like myself, and he's farming and starting a family, and I don't know. We have a lot in common, so I'm trying to get in touch with him.
Did you see the amazing live stream he did with that flat earther dude?
I did not. Was that recently?
It was. How long ago was that, Jeran?
It was about 4 months ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Mr. Benjamin.
Yeah, it was a good stream with David Weiss. So, David, thank you for doing that. That was awesome. And thanks for getting him on last week. That was fun, too. A couple other super chats I didn't read last time. So, real quick, Skeptic sent $2. Joshua Doyle sent $5. Says, muchas gracias, Senor Glowbusters. And then another $2 for y senoritas y senoras. So, I don't know why we started speaking Spanish, but we did. All right, let's go back to the phones. We've got somebody in the 360 area code. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
Hey, it's Dottie from Washington.
Hey, what's up, Dottie? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thanks for calling in.
Awesome. Thank you for being on. You make my work night much less annoying, so it's great.
Glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you get to, deliver packages with me for Amazon right now, so it's nothing but fun.
All right. Are you one of
I don't.
independent drivers that they have?
Oh. I work for a company, so I get to use a van. Which is nice because my car probably would not handle any driving at all. So.
All right. Well, glad you're joining us in your time of work. So what's up?
Not much. Mostly just kind of calling to listen. But yeah, your guest Benny, I totally feel what he's saying because I'm just like the worst flat earther ever because I started my YouTube channel with flat earth videos and I think I made 2 or 3 and then I was just like, all right, well, I know it's flat and I don't know how to convince other people. So I'm like, what do I do with this information? And still even talking to people online, especially, it's been almost 2 years since I found out about flat earth and I still just almost cringe just sharing a meme because I'm like, oh great, what are people going to say? They're going to say Dottie's crazy again or oh, poor Dottie, you just need to understand physics better. And I'm just like, no, I understand. You're wrong. So bye. but yeah, I'm just the worst flat earther because I do not know how to talk to people at all. And their arguments, I'm just I don't know how to counter that. But all right,
one of the problems, when people are going against flat earthers, in a recent interview by an unnamed rocket man, we'll just say, actually, wait, was it whatever? Saying that YouTube is your source of information. You have to say it in a way that YouTube is the platform where people upload information that was researched information, and then you can learn a ton on there. Right now, it's hard to find videos, so that's why I keep telling people about my app. It leads you to the good videos, or just go to Jeran's channel, or Benny's channel, my channel. There's all these great channels out there, and just start finding the videos that you want. Also on Facebook, the Flat Earth Podcast, I mirror tons of all the good videos are on that page. Just click videos, and you have a month or 2 worth of videos just to learn more, and then you'll get it, and you'll be able to tell people.
Yeah,
nice. That's awesome.
I'm somebody who just has gotten out of the whole camp of I need to convince people, because people are either open to the idea and they can watch the videos that I make or watch other people's videos and they can come to their own conclusion. But people can believe what they want. I really believe that, and that's just why I'm going to continue believing what I think is true and things that are based on my research. And I'm going to post videos about it. And either people can reject it or they can
Right, but you have to point people like, hey, did you know there's a question here? You think that circumnavigation can only happen on a ball.
Right.
Did you know there's another way? Check this video out. Make up your own mind.
Right. That's why the app is great.
Mhm.
The app's got the 21 questions
Yeah,
and
yeah.
easy clicks to go through playlists. And then once you watch the playlist, then you have all your questions answered.
Yeah, I've definitely learned that when I'm sharing videos for people to watch to try and find a playlist because, yeah, I know that YouTube is not going to recommend another good
Right.
video for them afterwards. And so, yeah, I've definitely been trying to do that more. But yeah, talking to people in real life, it's kind of mind-blowing sometimes because, yeah, I mean, like, I don't know what it is that some of us can see it and other people, they just can't. Like, no matter what you show them, they cannot see it. And I don't know what that is, you know, like what is going on in the airwaves or whatever that some of us are just like, oh, that's why the world didn't make sense. And others are like, don't ask that question. Like,
You're not allowed to.
exactly.
All right. Well, appreciate the call so much, Dottie. We'll talk to you again soon. You can get back to your package deliveries.
Let's have the next question go to Benny to see how he does with the question.
There you go. Well, I was going to ask
All
you,
right.
Benny, do you have any projects in the works that are coming up or anything people can look forward to? Or it's just always,
Yeah. Well, I'm really trying to build up this new channel. So, I mean, anybody who's listening and wants to support me, please go to youtube.com/BennyWills and subscribe. I'm really excited about this new endeavor because it's been activated the last couple of years with, I've been invited to perform all over the world at this point, and it's great. And I really feel like what I do with my personal stuff and with Joy Camp is really accessible for people.
Right.
So I find that comedy and creativity in general really can break down walls in ways that other approaches can't. And so I'm really passionate about it, and particularly about this poetry because it's so personal. And the gratitude I'm receiving now in messages from people is so authentic. So I know that I'm onto something. I mean, people are sending me daily appreciation messages and emails, paragraphs long, explaining to me why it was significant and telling me about themselves and their life. And so it's just more fuel for my fire. So I'm really stepping into growing this channel and putting the work out there. That said, if anybody knows who G. Edward Griffin is, he is the guy who wrote The Creature from Jekyll Island. He's a legend in the truth community, just a total crusader. He is going to publish my first book of poetry. We just sort of hammered out the details yesterday over breakfast, and that'll be in the works. So I have a book coming out hopefully by the end of the year.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And I'm going to be the MC for Anarchapulco in February. So if anybody wants to come to Anarchapulco, I will be the master of ceremonies for that event. I'm going to be speaking at Anarchadelphia in September. And other than that, I'm getting married in October to my beautiful fiance.
Oh, congrats.
And thanks. And yeah, man, things are good. And I just I subscribe to the channel, and I'm also going to do some live streams and stuff coming up because I really do want to be more interactive than I ever was with Joy Camp, because I do find that people feel safe with me, and I want to be more available to people and to open up conversation more. And so yeah, just tune into the channel, subscribe, and share videos. Go to Joy Camp. Got lots to offer.
Where did you get the name Joy Camp from?
Great question. It comes from George Orwell's 1984.
There you go.
It's from the Newspeak dictionary in 1984, and Joy Camp, as defined by 1984, was a forced labor camp.
Right.
So we just
kind of dark.
Yeah, it's got a great ring to it. So we took it and made it the name for the channel, and it's been the perfect name.
I thought you just took it from the term band camp from that movie American Pie.
Nope, it's straight out of Orwell.
It was from 1984, so it makes sense that it was.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the 306, and hopefully this is a question for Benny. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this?
My name's Alan, and I'm a flat earther.
What's up, Alan? It's like an NA meeting.
I know.
Hi. I just wanted to say to Benny, please do more Joy Camp videos. We need more comedy in the Flat Earth movement.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate that. What I do there, well, you're in luck because on Saturday I'm going to be in LA with my friends from Joy Camp, and we're going to be producing at least one new video. So there will be at least one coming out soon. But if you like Joy Camp, then seriously check out my personal channel, because what I'm doing is it has comedy in it. I cannot help but have comedy in my work.
Right.
But I think that what I'm doing with the poetry is even more poignant. So go to my channel. I have like 4 things up right now. You can check them out. And I'm telling you, this is a way to... I just subscribed to your Benny Wills channel.
Fantastic.
And I want to tell you that I've been awake to conspiracies since 2007, and I absolutely love Conspiracy Guy. He's a breath of fresh air.
That's awesome. Cool, man. I love it.
Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. Jeran, Dave, you're always doing a great show, and talk to you some other time.
Hey, thanks so much.
I appreciate it, man. And I'll be doing a live stream on my channel, my new channel, sometime in the next couple of days. So if you get the notification, tune in, and we can chat in real time.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. I also subscribe to the Benny Willis channel myself right now. Benny Wills. I keep saying Willis. I don't know why.
It's
Benny.
Story of my life, man. Everyone thinks it's Willis. That's why I always emphasize that it's Wills, not Willis.
Right. All right, let's go to the 910. Hopefully another question for Benny. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Sorry?
Hey, what's up, bud? Hey, man.
Hey, what's up?
Benny? Hey, Jeran. What's up, Benny?
Hey, how's it going,
Hey, I
man?
wanted to give you an answer. Hey, Benny, I heard you asking about meteor showers earlier.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give you an answer.
Cool.
You know, just like we see the same stars every year. We see the same meteor showers every year, same place, same time, right?
Interesting.
So are we seeing the same light trails, the exact same light trails, and could this be a sign of how the weather's going to be? I mean, I brought this up before, and I don't know, not a whole lot of people want to talk about it, but if we can get some actual good video of it and try to figure this thing out, it's just telling us a story. I mean,
gosh,
so it's the same light trails every year.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah,
How would you ever
that's
know?
my
How would
belief.
you be able to figure that out? But you're right. If somebody filmed the same part of the sky at the same time of year, who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Benny, with we're traveling, 500,000 miles an hour after the sun, spiraling, but on the same day, every year in the same part of the sky, the same meteor showers show up. And another thing about meteor showers is they always go either across or down. You never see them shooting up from the horizon. If it was a heliocentric ball, they'd be coming in all different directions.
That's a damn good point. Both you guys. I mean, that's a great point. And the caller just brought up a really interesting idea that I've never would have considered otherwise.
Let me bring these two things up too. You know how copper oxidizes, it turns blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is the firmament copper, and the magnet the Mount Meru. And as far as light traveling, light speed, and all these things, the only time light travels is if a headlight going down the road or a lightning bolt, in my opinion. If the light's on, it's on. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you're too far away.
Wow. I dig it.
You got that?
All right, thanks, Jake. Appreciate the call as always.
Thanks, Jake.
Let's go to the 905. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Oh, I know who it is. I think.
Hey, Jeran, Betty, David.
What's going on?
How you guys doing?
Great.
So I just also wanted to bring up the staircase of disbelief. So that was a great video, David. And I'm 6'4", so I usually take 2 steps at a time going upstairs. But if you can explain it better, David, just give that a good rundown, because I think that's really, really important.
It's on my channel. I think everybody here, thanks, man, has seen it. It's just Neil Kramer talking about how, Benny, actually, you would actually like this video. It's you know who Neil Kramer is?
The name's really familiar.
Yeah, you've probably heard him. But he talks about how you can't just go somebody and smash them in the head with a 2x4 and say the Earth is flat. You have to start them off with, like JFK, and then, 9/11. And he talks about walking somebody up the staircase. And by the time you get to the top, you realize the Earth is flat. Great video. It's like 1 or 2 or 3 back from the top of my channel right now. And it was a clip from Veritas Radio, and everybody seems to love it.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, it's great. All right, let's go to 705. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Question for Benny. Who's this?
Hi, this is Stephanie from Port Elgin. I called in a couple weeks ago, and I probably spoke way too fast for everybody, so I'm going to try to go slower. I actually have a point to Benny's question on how to answer questions, because one of the things that I've realized is people generally, without realizing they're doing this, their views of the Earth and the shape it is generally have a lot to do with their views on astronomy. And this is actually one of those things that I feel has kind of been weeded out of, especially in religious circles, right? Because if you're studying the sky, then you must be a witch. So, one of the things that I found is if you actually go to ancient astronomy sources and study the way that they viewed that the sky works, it's all from a stationary Earth. Regardless of whether or not they believed it was flat or round, they did believe that the Earth was stationary. And so a lot of those questions you get from people as to, okay, now that I'm saying this, I can't actually think of questions off the top of my head. But, all of those ones were well, how would this work? And how would this work? It's most of those answers you can actually find in ancient astronomy. One of the other things, too, is that, with the ball Earth, there's, it cancels out, our unique place in the world, right? And, all of that stuff. But then the other thing that it does is it removes the need for spirituality of any kind. And so once again, you have that whole astrology is evil kind of thing, or if you study astrology, you're a weirdo. But if you look at the ancient astrology, and once again, because modern astrology is way different than ancient astrology. But when you look into that, the way that the the planets and the stars and meteors and comets, it's all telling a story. And it all has an effect on, people at the time of their birth, the way that their life goes, the way that the Earth goes, when you should plant. And so, with the whole thing about comets and meteors, it's, it's all part of that timekeeping system that people have kind of just thrown out the window. So that's another thing to think about when it comes to that. And and then kind of veering directions now somewhere else, just kind of 2 little comments that I have. We were recently in PEI on a vacation, and one of the things, and I've been all over Canada at this point, and we used to live on the West Coast and stuff, and we've traveled, and one of the things that I noticed is out of all of Canada, PEI, and now that I'm saying this, it's probably going to change, so sorry for anybody who lives in PEI. PEI is one of the only places that we have been that had consistently clear skies with no chemtrails, which I thought was really, I don't know if it's because of where they're located, but that's just kind of one of those things. But while we were in PEI, this is on the topic of the moon landing anniversary now, we were at a hotel, and I had noticed that, it was the day of the anniversary, and they had a news interview with some astronaut or something on it, and I had to read it because they didn't have the volume on. But I think Jeran mentioned something about this, about another interviewer kind of doing this thing too. They were working through all of these different questions with him, just these 2 interviewers, and then they were going to go to answer the public questions off of Facebook or whatever it was. And the first question right off the bat was, what do you do about people who deny the moon landing? And so it was it totally seemed like it was this like this planned thing, because it's like they ended up, basically saying, well, if those people choose to be ignorant, then, we're not going to give them any more. And like, I don't know, it was kind of comical, because after that they closed off, like nobody else could ask questions in regards to denying the moon landing. And it was just like, I don't know. And it's just one of those things, once again, if you're doing that right off the bat, you're kind of giving it away that this whole thing was a farce. So anyways, that's my little
That's
flip
awesome.
for the evening.
What's worth noting, you remember this movie First Man that came out last year, or is it recently?
Yeah.
Well, the tagline.
No, I haven't seen it. I've heard of it, though.
The tagline for this film, I mean, it's right there in plain sight. The tagline for this film literally was, "Experience the impossible journey to the moon." Seriously, that's the tagline for the film. I mean, Hollywood knows, and they're just throwing it in our face.
Yeah.
Anyway, I really, that's great perspective, and yeah, the ancient astrology and astronomy is, and cosmology. I think the lost science, cosmology, is very telling.
Yeah, and you said it before, Benny, when you said your thoughts are not your own, and nowhere is that more true than astronomy. Everything that you've been taught is what basically builds the foundation of your belief system when it comes to you being just a speck of dust, according to Carl Sagan, and floating around this endless vacuum, of course, with the attached atmosphere, which makes zero sense.
Mm-hmm.
They're constantly throwing out little clues in our face. John Thor put out a video today that said it had I forget the astronaut, but he said he was on a news show and they're asking what it was like in the space station, and he says, "Oh, it's flat out beautiful," or "It's flat beautiful." He said,
"Wow."
And they're just doing that either to rub it in our face or it's some sort of wizardry.
Both.
A little both.
Yeah. Well, because it's so blatant.
Yeah.
It is. All right. Well, thanks for the call. Appreciate it so much. We got one more we're going to try and get to. 610 area code. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Got a question for Benny?
Yo, Jeran. Hey, it's AJ from PA.
What's up, AJ and PA?
I don't have a question. DITRH, you still on the line?
I am.
The latest proof that we landed on the moon. Bing. I thought that was really funny. I was laughing out loud. I really needed that. I had a rough day, and I appreciate what you guys are doing. And the show's great, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. All right, I think Dave, we actually got through all the phone calls in time. Shocking.
There we go.
Pretty impressive. Yeah, so thank everybody for joining us, and thank you, Benny, so much for joining us. And we've already talked about Joy Camp. Please subscribe over there, and also at Benny Wills. 2 words, subscribe over there. And you said you're going to be going live this week to do something fun and keeping it light and comedic, huh?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, my poetry has been described as Dr. Seuss meets George Carlin, and I think it's a pretty apt description. So, yeah, if you're in either one of those people and their work, check me out. If you like Joy Camp, check me out. I could use all the support I can get because I'm in that initial launch phase.
Benny, are you aware of the Flat Earth Conference in Dallas in November?
I'm aware of it, yeah, totally.
You should come. Owen's going to be there. You can meet him there. Come and experience the show. He's going to be doing a show on Friday night or Thursday night.
I thought it was Wednesday.
No. Thursday night. He's doing a show. He's doing a comedy show after the conference. But if you come, you get spoof up your flat Earth knowledge. Meet 600, 1,000 flat earthers, like-minded people. That's the most amazing part of the conference. Just being surrounded in a crowded bar where everybody is awake.
Well, let's talk outside of this conversation about it, because I wouldn't mind getting in touch with the organizers and seeing if I can maybe do like a little set myself.
I will put you in touch with Robbie Davidson, and you guys could have that discussion.
Excellent.
And see what's going on.
Cool. And guys, this has been a most excellent conversation. I'll come back anytime to keep discussing this further because it's a highly compelling subject, and you guys are great.
And I threw you a bunch of links in your Skype chat. There will be a quiz next time we talk. So watch them.
Perfect. Looking forward to it.
All right. See you, Benny.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
So much for listening. As always, Jeranism.com, Jeranism, the YouTube channel, patreon.com/Jeranism, or paypal.me/Jeran. Support the show. Support what you do. Until next time.
Truth Frequency Radio is your number one source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Geo, X Squared with Brooks Agnew, Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas, Jeranism RAW with Jeran and Missa, Fearless